Welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. We're digging the plugs and pinpointing the topics you want to hear.
And now, here's your hosts, Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen.
This show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP Metal Detectors is a high-end, innovative metal detector company with great machines and great pinpointers. For more information, go to xpmetaldetectors.com. For a dealer near you, try a Google search or go to xpdeus-usa.com. Hello and welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kimball, coming to you from Central Oklahoma. And I am joined today by my co-host, Grant Hansen, coming to you from New Jersey. So how you doing today, Grant?
I'm doing well. It's getting really cold over here in New Jersey, and I'm kind of getting a little bit depressed that the ground's going to start freezing. But I'm always an optimist, so hopefully that we'll get a heat wave soon. How about you? How's everything over there?
We had a little snow, actually a lot of snow, and then the next day was 50s, and then it was 60s. Snow melted really quick. It was really nice for a few days. It started getting windy, and now it's back down to the 30s and really windy. So it's supposed to be 30s all week, but I'm hoping for another few warm-ups so I can get out and do some more hunting.
Yeah, Mother Nature has you guessing, and she's not committing to where she's going to go, huh?
Yeah, Oklahoma, it's hard to predict the weather in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I bet.
We have a great show for everybody today. Our guest today is one of our own XP Team USA field reps out of Virginia, Mr. Steve Fenner. We also have our dealer of the month for the month of January, Mr. George and Pam Lesche with Predator Tools. They are here to talk to us about their tools and how they're dealing with XP now.
Yeah, and they're also sponsoring a great contest that we're going to give you details on how to enter at the end of the show. But you're going to have a chance to win a Super Relic Pro Model 81 shovel. It's a $100 value. It's big. It's burly. It's beautiful. It's such a wonderful shovel. So I'm excited for whoever going to have a chance to win that.
All right. Yeah, that looks like a really good shovel too.
Yeah, it's kind of making me think I got to add that to my wish list of things that I need to add to my arsenal.
Yes, same here. Let's get on with it, and we'll come right back with Mr. Steve Fenner. XP Metal Detectors now introduces the new X35 search coils. Designed around a brand new electronic advances, these new high-performance and versatile coils will allow you to choose from a wide range of frequencies, ranging from 3.7 kHz to 27.7 kHz. In total, there are 35 available frequencies based around 5 main frequencies that are quickly accessible. A new boost mode is now an option on frequencies 3.7 kHz to 4.4 kHz and can significantly increase detection depth on highly conductive targets such as large masses and large silver coins. The new X35 search coils will now be available as option as the same price as the previous coils, and also now will be standard with the brand new diodes. So get your X35 today. We would like to welcome one of our very own XP Team USA field reps out of Virginia, Mr. Steve Fenner. Steve has been detecting throughout his life and has found some pretty amazing artifacts. So welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm really glad to be here. Excited.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. So you are a married man with 2 children, and you reside in Virginia, and you work as an investment advisor. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself so that our listeners can get some insight into who Steve Fenner is?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I was raised in Northern Virginia, and I hesitate to say Northern Virginia because that could just mean so many things. I was born in Fairfax. I lived in Falls Church, Arlington, Manassas, Reston, Herndon, and Sterling. So I lived everywhere, but I pretty much had a family base in Manassas and ended up spending a lot of time there. Went to university at Virginia Commonwealth University in the 90s, and that's down here in Richmond, Virginia, and I never left. I met my wife down here while in school and got married a handful of years later, have my 2 children, and have been an investment advisor for about 20 years now. And I would say that is my other extreme passion. So I've got 3 of them, raising my children, my family, my job, what I do. I am truly blessed in being able to say that I truly love what I do, and I do what I love. And then on top of that, extremely passionate about metal detecting. My job lets me travel quite a bit, mainly on the East Coast right now. That also opens up plenty of opportunities to metal detect, but also meet other detectorists around the country and make some really good friendships.
Oh, yeah. So growing up in the state of Virginia and now residing in Richmond, what's it like living in an area that's so enriched in American history?
It is amazing. Again, it's another blessing that I count on. When I was a child living in Manassas in Northern Virginia, I was able to witness all of the incredible suburban and retail expansion where everything was just really being destroyed and displaced. And then being in Northern Virginia and growing up there and having so many other influences to mentor me, I really got to learn about the area. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. Anybody knows when you are metal detecting, you are doing tons of research. You're always keeping your eyes and your ears open. So then when it came down to moving down to Richmond, I knew it was all here, and even, in my opinion, so much better than what was up in Northern Virginia. But just the fact that you're down here, and I know that being here on the East Coast, I do take it for granted. A lot of people do, the things that we have available. But quite honestly, you can put your coil on the ground anywhere in the Richmond area, and you're bound to find something, either colonial, Civil War, or even anything else that you might enjoy digging up.
Yeah, you're certainly blessed to live in an area that, like David said, it's so rich in American history and colonial, Civil War, modern. You pretty much got everything. And you're not exactly a newbie to detecting. You've been doing it most of your life. Who influenced you when you were young, and what kept you going?
When I was young, my grandfather was a metal detectorist, and he started back in the early 1970s. And he brought home a Garrett metal detector, and that's what I got to use along with him. So, I was quite young then, but my grandfather would take me along from time to time, and I got to detect a little bit with him, just be around the area, be around the old timers and hearing all the stories and everything. But other times, though, too, my grandfather would continue to go out relic hunting, and he would just bring the neatest things home that I would just look at and be fascinated with for hours. And I couldn't stop looking at his display case and holding the bullets and admiring the buttons or the Bowie knives and the buckles. It all just fascinated me. And I think at that point, being younger, the finds and the things that were being pulled out of the ground were just so amazing because you didn't see stuff like that. But then over time, though, as I got older, my grandfather then would also talk to me about the history that went behind it and what happened here and there, and the stories that go along with every relic you pull out of the ground really fascinated me. So definitely a connection there with my grandfather. But then also, it doesn't take much to get the digging bug. That's what I call it. Yeah. You get the bug, you can't stop. You've got the passion, and it takes a lot to get rid of it. That's for sure.
I agree. So what kind of detecting do you prefer? Farm, fields, home site?
I prefer digging wherever I can, to be quite honest. I do find that most of my hunting is going to be in wooded areas. These days, because of so many years digging Civil War, these days I prefer the home sites, and the older the better. So really trying to get on the early American colonial home sites, and that's what I'm really looking to do. A lot of times I'm in the woods, and what I enjoy about the woods is being able to read the land and see the vegetation and the way the ground is. That really helps me read an area to try to put together the story. But then I also love the ease of being able to metal detect a field where there aren't any roots or there are no trees. It's nice and flat and level and pretty easy digging. And you can really tell where you're going and being able to know where you're swinging and really cover an area really well.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. Sometimes more relaxing, sometimes sometimes not, because you can be on a field and you go 10 minutes without a signal. And that's a kind of different anxiety than trying to battle through rocks and tree roots.
That's right. That's right. You get into a position like that, and then you think your machine is broken, and you've got to swing something metal by it, put your shovel by the coil to make sure you're still working.
Right. So you mentioned earlier that you've had the opportunity, because of travel, to detect up and down the East Coast. Have there been any other states that you've detected that rival Virginia?
I think I've scratched the surface with Tennessee. Tennessee has some really good spots, and I can't say that I've been on all these really good spots, but I have had some really good luck in Tennessee while traveling, but I'm also seeing a lot of great finds coming out of Tennessee. But it's in my opinion, it's really hard to rival Virginia with what I've experienced so far.
Oh, yeah, I bet. So everybody's got different strategies for research. What are some of your strategies?
I tell you, research is the key. And I'm looking at old maps as much as I can, mainly online, and utilizing Google Earth and satellite technology, overlays, and I could spend hours and hours on research. So a lot of maps, I do like to be able to pull up Civil War diaries when I can and go through those to try to get some idea of what the soldiers were seeing and experiencing. And then also, I think it is beneficial to have a small network of other like-minded detectorists that share the same passion to also help you out with the research. If, two heads are better than one when deciphering information and trying to put things together. But it's definitely a combination of things. Every once in a while, I do go to the library and look at the maps that only the library has and to try to find out additional information.
Gotcha. And like you say, research is key. You can just show up to a place, and just because it's old doesn't mean there's any history there. But, by doing that research, you knew the activity, and you have a better expectation of what you might find.
All right, we'll be right back with Steve Fenner and talk more about some of his finds. XP has introduced its new ORX machine, a high-end machine at a mid-range price. The ORX has 4 factory preset programs, 2 gold, 2 coins, also 2 user programs. The ORX comes with a high-frequency coil and is compatible with the X35 coils. The ORX is now available in the USA. All right, we are back with Steve Fenner.
So we're going to make some people jealous here, but we'd like to talk about some of your more notable finds. First, please tell us about the Union Soldier Identification Disc you found.
Wow, what a great find. Now, I found that in 2018, April of 2018. I was in an area east of Richmond, Virginia that I've actually been hunting for a dozen years. Get this great signal, pulled it out of the ground, and I thought I had a large scent, and there was a hole in it as well. And I was with another person. He mentioned first that it could be an ID disc. And the feeling that came over me, it's not quite what you would expect. I was actually kind of worried at this point because I agreed with him. I thought it was an ID disc, and my first thought going through my head is, how am I going to preserve this? How am I going to clean this without ruining it and messing up the integrity of the disc and being able to read the information? So I kind of stressed out a bit on how I'm going to clean this up, because if you over clean something, you can't put it back, and it's very easy to ruin something. But what an amazing find. So I was actually able to clean it a bit. I didn't take it too far, and actually able to recover all of the information off of the disc. So I've got the name of the soldier. It was a Union soldier from Rochester, New York. He served twice, fought in many different battles. Now, the battles are not listed. They're not engraved on his disc, but I'm through finding out who he is, I've been able to do research online and find out what he's been in and everything like that. So it's still a bit of a new find. I've scratched the surface on trying to find living, surviving family members, but I'm not in too much of a hurry just yet. I'm still enjoying it, but I would enjoy being able to pass that on to the surviving family one day if I could.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Great find, definitely a bucket lister for sure.
Yeah, personalized items like that are very, very cool. On top of that, you also found a pretty cool double stamped Eagle U.S. General Service button. How long ago was that, and what type of site was that you found that in?
This was a fort southeast of Richmond, Virginia, and it was of course occupied by the Union Army for many years, and I found it about 3 or 4 years ago. It was just the strangest looking button, but I didn't think much of it because buttons, you never know what condition they're going to come out of the ground, and they could look messed up anyway. And I generally try not to clean my relics up too much. I like to leave some dirt on there. I want to be able to see the detail, but this button just looked so strange, but I just thought it was all mangled up and farm plows, fertilizers, and everything, you name it. But then one day I was looking at it a little bit closer, and I noticed that it had the eagle head on the north part of it, just like normal, but then there was another eagle's head on the east part of the button, the east side of the button. And then I realized that button had been double stamped. So there's two heads on it, but they're not stamped right on top of each other or slightly overlaid. It was turned about 45 degrees and then stamped again. So there's 4 wings on there, 2 heads. The only thing that's blended in is the shield.
Oh, that's crazy. Do you think it was a mistake, or was that, do you think, done on purpose?
I'm thinking it was a mistake, but I don't know. I did put it online before, and I didn't hear any other opinions on how that may have happened, but that's an interesting thought as well.
Yeah, that is very cool. That's got to be pretty valuable for being a mistake like that.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the investment advisor. I would say that your advice would not to be metal detecting for your retirement plan.
Absolutely. I'm still trying to work on it, though. If I get it to work, I'll let everybody know.
So you got me a little thinking about relocating from New Jersey to Virginia with everything that you got going down there. And something on my personal bucket list, because I love state coppers, you found a 1773 Virginia halfpenny. I would love to find one of those. What's the story behind that?
Wow. So that, again, an amazing find. I was at another Civil War site outside of Richmond, and I find this coin that I could barely see, out of the ground, very dirty. I could see a shield on it and like a cross on it. So I thought it was just a incredibly tarnished Spanish silver. And the size, it wasn't the size of a normal copper. It was a little bit on the smaller side. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what I had until long after I had gotten home and taken the time to preserve it a bit, clean it up a little bit, and I realized that it was not a Spanish silver, and this was something else. So definitely looking a little bit more into it. It didn't take me too long to find out about the coin and what it was, but then realizing the story behind it. And here we have a Virginia colony that is short on currency, and they finally get approval from King George III to actually mint some money for the Virginia colony. So on there, it's Virginia halfpenny does have King George III on there, and then coat of arms on the back. Incredibly, it was only minted in 1 year. So it was only minted in 1773. So in my case, you can't see the date on my coin, but it was only minted in 1773. And then on top of that, I think I heard, and some of my information may not be totally correct here, but again, I really love attaching the stories behind the artifacts. But apparently, since there was a currency shortage, I think everybody kind of hoarded the coin anyway, and not a whole lot of people spent them. But anyway, really, really neat find. Love it. I haven't found any more.
Very cool. All right, one more. Okay, we got. Tell us about the 1733 Spanish pistarine you found.
That was probably one of the best pieces of Spanish silver that I found. And this was this is on a site in New Kent County, east of Richmond, Virginia, about 30 minutes east of Richmond. I was on the Pamunkey River and really just on a very large farm trying to locate a hot spot. Just really going around slowly, trying to find some good signals. And I got this halfway decent signal, and this beautiful, beautiful Spanish silver pops out of the ground. And so the soil is extremely sandy and just really kept it in great condition. So I didn't have to do any cleaning at all, and a beautiful coin. And,
Wow.
and something like that, when you can show somebody, and again, this is what I truly enjoy, being able to educate people and show people what I pull out of the ground. These are things people have never seen, they don't hear about, and it's fascinating to them. But the fact that that's Spanish silver, I mean, when you talk about pirate treasure, that's what that stuff is made of.
Oh, yeah.
That thing I dug out of the ground there. You know, it's funny because all the times I try to do beach hunting, try to find up some washed up silver, I haven't found any of that. But I always, you know, from time to time, you'll find that stuff on the land at an old colonial American home site.
That's crazy.
So again, another great find.
So I never seen one personally. I mean, I've seen pictures of one. For those who don't know, the pistarine is equal to a 2 real. Is that right?
That's correct.
So what's the size of that thing? Is that like a size of maybe $1, or is it smaller than that? Or?
It's smaller than that. It's about, I think it might even be quarter sized, maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah, from what I understand, American coinage was based on the real system. So a half real would have been a half dime, a real a dime, and a 2 real or pistarine would be a quarter, all the way up to the 8 real, which was the silver dollar. So we weren't really original in our coinage, but it's a good system, I think.
Sure was.
So with all these great finds in your bag, what's topping your bucket list right now?
Oh, it's that old George Washington inaugural button for sure. At top of many bucket lists.
Yeah.
So would love to find one of those. I have not dug a complete artillery piece of artillery here in Virginia. So I really would love to find a nice whole shell or even a cannonball.
Yeah, that would be something else, and you got to be pretty careful when you're taking those things out of the ground.
Absolutely.
So I got to ask you, I ask everybody this, so I got to ask you too. So if you had a 1-day pass to hunt anywhere in America that you could, where would you hunt?
Oh boy, in America. Oh boy. You know what? I would love to hunt the Manassas battlefield.
Oh yeah.
Just because that's where I grew up and visited there many a time and just envisioned everything that happened there. That's where it would be, the Manassas battlefield up in Northern Virginia.
All right. Well, it's really good having you here, Steve Fenner. Very good information, and we love to have you back again sometime. Fun talking to you.
Absolutely. Same here, guys. Thanks again for having me here. I enjoyed the conversation, and I'd love to come back anytime. And anyone listening, you know, do you have any additional questions, or look up that website? Also, my Facebook might be on there, and on Instagram, I'm RVA_metal_detecting. So lots of opportunities to reach me if you need any additional help. All right, take care, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Steve. Really enjoyed talking with you.
Check us out online at xpdeus-usa.com.
Are needing the highest quality digging tool for metal detecting, then check out Predator Tools. Their digging tools are made from chromoly 4130 and heat treated and tempered to ensure the highest quality product. Predator Tools are made in the USA and are also used in the United States military. All of their tools carry a 5-year warranty and are proven to be the toughest out there. So check out Predator Tools at predatortools.com. We would like to welcome our dealers of the month of January, Mr. George and Pam Lesche of Predator Tools. Predator Tools makes top-of-the-line shovels and digging tools. While familiar to most of us in the metal detecting world, they are also important tools for the police, the fire department, and our military. Pam and George, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for your support with Predator Tools as an official sponsor of XP Team USA. Can you tell us How did you get started creating your digging tools, and what was your original focus? Was it metal detecting, another industry? What's the origin?
Well, to be honest with you, it all started with metal detecting. We used to in the early days, we had a little metal detecting shop in the backyard, and I used to make trips down to Virginia to go metal detecting with a good friend of mine. And I was rather upset because Pam kept selling my tools on me. And people would come in, well, what storage you use and stuff. And she ended up selling one of my tools just before I was getting ready to leave. And I didn't have time to make another one. And so I had to call and place an order for a metal detector. And I was talking to Gary Biskey from Outdoor Outfitters. And I was telling him what Pam did selling my tools on me. And he asked me if I would, to send him one of the tools. So I sent him a tool, and he calls me back. He says, George, I don't like it. I love it. And that was the ground shark in the original early days. And he placed a big order for it, and what do you call it? They just kept snowballing off of that. More and more dealers, everybody wanted to carry the tools and stuff, and it just kept growing off of that. That was back when I was Lesche Tools. And then 2001 was when I left there, and 2003 we started Predator Tools, which I wanted to do with my wife and my son, and that's just what we're doing now. But that's basically how the business got started.
Yeah, and I can tell you that especially when someone enters the metal detecting hobby, they don't really understand maybe right at the beginning the value of a good shovel, but you learn really quickly that you need a really good shovel. And so, I've definitely been using your tools since I got my hands on it shortly after I started, and they really do make a difference and make it detecting more fun.
It saves a lot of, shall we say, elbow grease when you're going to dig, because these are actually, it's the real deal. If you're going to dig, you're going to dig with something that's really going to get you in the ground fast. You don't want to, be flopping around. I've been to hunts where people went to Walmart, bought their shovel or whatever, think they're going to go to a major hunt, and it seems snap right there. And here you are. You paid all this money to go to this hunt, and you're standing there with a broken shovel. And like our Model 85, that's the original tool off the original dies. I'm still the original person building those tools. And it's probably one of the most copied hand tools out there. But it's a phenomenal piece. And it's well received by the public and a lot of other dealers. The Raptor, that was another one. That was one me and Pam thought up. It took like a year or two before it really got going. And then after that, it took off. It grew a life of its own. And it's a very, very popular, and it's been very popular since 2003, and it's still going strong.
So you have a wide variety of both size shovels and hand tools. For someone looking to get the right tool for the job, what advice would you give them for picking out the right one?
It would depend upon, like different parts of the country have like different preferences to different shovels. But the one that dominates everything is the Piranha. The Piranha, that's been strong probably, I would say, worldwide. We send them all over the place. All around the world, literally, we sell the Piranhas. It's a great tool. It's for what it is. It's lightweight, it's durable, it's strong, and it's practical for metal detecting.
Yeah, that's what I use. That's a great shovel.
Yeah, I brought mine out to England a couple months ago, and it was great because, like you said, it's lightweight and it fit in my duffel bag. And then, I had a lot of people out there asking about it and checking it out. So it's definitely a good, versatile, all-around shovel.
And you can make really clean plugs with the Piranha, too. I mean, they look really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're doing, like, open field hunting and stuff like that now, we have one called the Hornet. We just came out with. The Hornet has absolutely no press except for the people who've been using it out in the field, and it's a great tool. If you're going out there, if you're doing field hunting, and it doesn't matter how big of a hole you're cutting, you can just punch it in and pull up a big wad at one time. But then again, I wouldn't use that on somebody's lawn, but for like a landscaper and stuff, when I originally worked on that project, when we were designing it, we brought it out to nurseries and had them work with it. And they were telling me for trees, it'll do the job. But he says when it comes to putting trees in the ground and digging the dirt out of the ground, they said that is the tool that they love to use. He says they're literally fighting over who's going to use it. Because I donated some of them to the nursery that was doing the testing. And they love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Also, they're really popular at the metal detecting hunts that we do. Everybody really likes those too, and they're great if the ground is kind of hard and frozen.
Yeah, which many of us are experiencing that right now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we did come out. We have one called the Hurricane and the Phoenix. It's like a scaled down Hornet for like if you are going into like a yard. It has a disc shape to it, or if you're doing fields, it's a lighter tool altogether. It's a scaled down version of the Hornet, but it still has the same concept of the blade because it's really a successful design. Out of all the tools I know I've designed over 100 different tools. I consider this my masterpiece. This thing is awesome, and we're working on those right now, trying to get those up online. Hornet's been going pretty good. I can't complain about that. Right now, as it stands, the Piranha itself is probably number one out of everything we produce.
Yeah, I bet. I just recently got the Raven, too, and that thing will cut through.
Yeah.
That's Pam's favorite.
That's my favorite shovel.
Yeah, that thing will
Because I
cut
do a
through
lot
some
of farm
roots.
fields, and I kind of have a bad knee. So for me, that shovel is perfect, and it makes a nice clean plug too.
How do you come up with the names for all these different models? They're pretty creative names, but it seems like they have a theme, an animal or.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of research.
It takes a lot of research, and you have to make sure that name is not out there on anything else. Because if it is, then you can't use it.
Right.
Like the Hornet is after the aircraft carrier Hornet. Then you got the Lexington, then you got the Yorktown. And now we're working on Phoenix and the Hurricane. And those are going to be the next ones coming out. Within this upcoming week, we should have everything finalized on the webpage that are available. We have some ready now, but we're trying to build up the numbers before we start, shipping stuff out.
You guys actually reside in my home state, beautiful New Jersey. And it's farm fields that you mostly prefer to hunt on, is that right?
Love it.
Well, that's mostly what we have here. We're way out in the country. So we have a lot of friends that are in the nursery and farming community. So we just ask permission. There's also a lot of old houses. And
what you just found with your machine.
Yeah, just with my dais, actually. I found a beautiful silver bracelet with 10 diamonds in it.
No.
Was it 10?
15 and with one missing.
One was missing. And that was an old house. And it's really nice when you find something and you're not expecting to find a piece of jewelry there. Because I was really coin hunting, But, and it was in perfect condition except for one diamond missing. But the dais picked it right up.
That's great. We've had somebody call in our hotline and leave a question. Let me play that for you real quick.
Hi, George. This is Randy from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I have a question. I do mostly woods hunting, and I was wondering if you could tell me the best shovel for getting through the roots and the rocks. Thank you.
That'll be your Piranha. When you're talking about roots and rocks, the only thing what's best for getting around that would definitely be the Piranha.
Your shovels just aren't tools. They're also like works of art. Can you tell us about the craftsmanship and the process that goes into producing a Predator tool?
Well, put it this way. There's a lot of work. Like usually what we do when we're doing the tool, I'm going to give you a prime example. When we were doing the ladybug, we went out on the deck. We put cardboard out there, and Pam was telling me we need to come up with something new, and she was bouncing ideas off me on what she would like to see. And we actually took it. We drew it all out on cardboard. And once we made it on cardboard, that gave us like a template, and you could fold it up how you would like it to look, the shape, the size, different tools. Or like prime example, the ladybug. That comes with an 18-inch handle. because we feel that the 18-inch handle is all that blade will take, and it's a good scooping shovel. If you want to get into the ground and pull up a nice wad of dirt, that is the tool you want to use.
I think he was asking you, how do you make the heat treating, tempering.
All right, what you would have to do, to give you a prime example, once the blade is cut, you have a blank. Everything's bought from straight sheet metal. You got the sheet metal, which is all American-made, chromoly 4130. The same thing, aircraft quality, and they call it what you call virgin steel. Now, what they mean by virgin steel is, in its purest form, there's no additives, there's no scrap metal added into this. Everything's American-made. From there, what we do, all right, like the shafts, all the shafts are all cut to size, they're heat-treated, tempered, and then they got to be tumbled to clean them all up, smooth them again. With the blades, when the blades are what you call machine sharpened, once they're sharpened, they come back, they get stamped. They get folded. I heat treat them. I temper them. Then they get tumbled. Then from there, I'm ready to start putting things back together again. But like you said, I consider it like a piece of art also. There's actually people out there that collect these. They don't even use them. They just collect them. And the tools themselves, to give you a prime example, I had one that actually had a little bit of spatter. Well, it's not spatter. It's like a little welding BB where you're welding, and sometimes a little bit gets in there, and it had like a little bit of a rattle to it. Pam brings it back to me. She checks every one of these things. I check them. She checks them. The son checks them before they even make it in the box. She'll bring it back to me, and I'll actually have to cut it open to get it out. Now, if the tool is not 100%, I can guarantee you it is not leaving this facility. Any chips in the paint, she'll bring it back. You need to touch it up. We pride ourselves on having the highest quality tools out there. Like I've worked in nuclear plants as a welder. I've worked in refineries for a number of years as a welder. Certified. Believe me, welding to me is everything. I do it every day. And quality is everything.
I think what's also special about you guys is that you're a husband and wife team, and you're partners, and you have an experience of running and sharing not just a business but of a hobby. What's that like? What's that like for you guys to share such common interests on both a professional and a personal level?
We love it. That's what keeps us going. I worked as a nurse for many, many years. Now I retired from that, and all I do now is help with the tools. And this is just like the love of my life. This is what I like to do. Like my husband is the love of my life. And we do things together, like we go on hunts in Virginia and love it. Or even, on a Sunday afternoon, because we do work a lot here too. So our time is limited. So, a couple hours, if it's not raining, we're like, let's go out and hunt for a couple hours. And that's our relaxation. You just put those headphones on, you got your shovel, you got your metal detector, and we just have a little bit of peace and quiet and relaxation.
But this lady works. We got married 3 days out of high school. She was my high school sweetheart. And when we first got going, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And I've seen her out there at 10 o'clock at night out there helping me work on stuff, trying to make sure that we got everything done in timely fashion. I've seen her work through thick and thin. I do it all the time anyhow. But to have her come out, prepare, have dinner ready and everything, and come out and start working with me, that's unbelievable. Plus helping designing this stuff, too.
But to me, it's not like working. It's more of an enjoyment. I get to spend time with my husband. I get to spend time with my son. Even his girlfriend helps us out, too. So it works out very well.
But there's other people involved in it also.
Right. We have friends that help us, too.
It's not just us. There's other people involved in it. Like, if you look at the full picture, all right, like you're buying an American-made product, but then again, you got to think of it also, all the people that it employs, from the people that mine it, from the people that work the steel up, from the people who deliver the steel. Everything that we do creates jobs any way you cut it, right down to the boxes. The people that manufacture boxes are all American-made, everything. The people that deliver it, it creates jobs for people here.
And the United States Postal Service for doing such a good job.
Yeah.
Right.
We have a very small postal office, and they're like part of our family, too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned before earlier, there is another digging tool with your name on it, the Lesche diggers. I've had a lot of people confuse both of them with Lesche diggers with Predator tools. Can you tell us how that's not affiliated with you anymore?
Well, I lost the use of Lesche tools back in 2001. That's when we started in 2003. It took me just under 2 years to start up all over again. And to be honest with you, it was very, very difficult for us in the early days to start up again, because everybody was acting like we're the ones copying them. But like when I left the shop, all the tooling that I had for making the tools was items that I thought up, I made, and I brought with me. Those were my personal tools that I had invented and made. I was down there in the dead of winter thinking this stuff and making the dies and stuff. And that's another thing. Like all the tooling for building the tools, stuff that we thought up and we built ourselves. We didn't have anybody else build our tooling for us. We did our own in-house building and designing of our own tooling. But you were asking the difference. We're in no way affiliated with Lesche Tools. Predator Tools is a completely different thing altogether.
Gotcha. Thank you for that clarification, because I like David said, we do get questions about that. So it's great to have that definitive answer.
Because we used to have, like in the early days, like when some of their tools might have broke, they ended up sending them to us. It had nothing to do with us. We'd end up bringing them down there or, sending them back to the people. And there's no affiliation.
Okay. Hey, and you mentioned earlier that you like to go down to Virginia and do some organized digs. Is nowadays, with the popularity of your shovels, can you still get down there for pleasure and get out to detect, or has it become more of a business venture when you're headed down to these rallies?
It's a little of both.
Little of both, but like we have a lot of friends down there, and they'll invite us, come on over and stuff, and we'll metal detect here, metal detect there. But the last one we just did, just go detecting. That was great. We had a great time there.
That's a very great hunt. There'll be another one coming up in early spring sometime.
It was such a relaxed atmosphere, and the people were so nice. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like 200 people that go, but the land is so vast that you're like, oh, where's all the people? You might see 3 or 4 in your area, and you just walk for miles and detect. And I used the dais there, too. And my arm wasn't hurting at all. Other people were complaining, my arm hurts from using, heavier machines.
Right.
And we walked like, what?
I don't think you can say what that guy said he would like to have right about now.
Yeah, I couldn't say that.
We were both laughing.
Yeah.
Like crazy. He said his arm was hurting so bad from swinging one of these real heavy machines
that he needed some narcotics.
I don't think we can mention which ones.
No.
Right.
But it was just comical.
Yeah.
But it's a really good experience, and you make a lot of friends. I actually met Sonia there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Our very own Sonia.
Yeah, she was at the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she said she had a nice time, too.
We'll actually be talking with Sonia, I believe, on the next show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good people.
Yeah, we finally got to meet her in person.
So what's new on the horizon for Predator Tools? Anything exciting we should be looking out for?
Well, the Hurricane's coming out.
Hurricane, Phoenix, and Hornet. Like a Hornet is like an all-around. I mean, like...
And the Super Relic Pro, that's the one...
Yes.
I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's new, too.
Yeah, but you got the Yorktown and the Lexington also.
Correct.
But I think we're sold out of one of them.
Yeah, the Yorktown.
The Yorktown we're sold out of, and we got to restock on that one.
Yeah, I could see why people have collections, because they're all so beautiful and unique the way they look. I could just see you having an arsenal of different digging tools and, grabbing the right one for the day.
And everybody has their own personal preference. You know what I mean? I have customers call me and say, I don't know which one to get. And I'm like, well, what kind of hunting do you do? and kind of take it from there. I never pick a shovel for them. I kind of try to guide them in the right direction. And like George says, it depends what part of the country it is. But some shovels you can use pretty much anywhere.
But you know, it's a good one though for in the fields is the Raven. Matter of fact, two good friends of ours came up from Virginia that were showing us the metal detectors, the ones that they were using, and couldn't help but notice. I didn't even notice it until the farmer came out and took a picture of us. Everybody was carrying Ravens. And then we posted. It was a joke.
It was a joke. We posted it on Facebook that we were the Raven Gang. And we didn't plan it. We just all took our shovels out, and we all had Ravens.
and then one of the ladies accidentally, there was a no trespassing sign there, and it was the property owner that came out and took the photo. And one of the ladies accidentally she says, let me hold my Raven up. And she covered up part of the sign. And we posted it on Facebook as a joke. Mighty fine day to do a little trespassing. And it was all a joke. 100-some people loved it. They were all laughing about it. You know, it was presented as a comical thing.
Yeah.
And one person from Canada actually thought it was real. I couldn't believe it.
There's always one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was really nice. So, you know, like we've made a lot of friends from Virginia, too. So they came up here and for Christmas, they sent us T-shirts. And they put the picture that we posted on the T-shirt, and it had the Raven Gang on the front of the T-shirt. It was a very unique Christmas gift. I loved it.
But one of the ladies that came up from Virginia, she was showing us how to correctly use the Deas. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. And I had a mine lab out, and this was in my backyard in a field that I really knew. And I really thought I was going to win the day with this. I'll tell you what, she kicked my butt one side down the other with that machine. She pulled up a beautiful 1748 King George copper, and I believe she had a couple other coins too. But that copper was beautiful. In the county we live in, there's a river that goes through. It's called the Cohansey River. Now, what's strange about this is you have two settlements from the 1700s. Now, if you go on one side, you have Greenwich. The other side is Fairton. Now, Greenwich side, whenever you find a copper, they're usually wiped or in really bad condition. But when you go over to the Fairton side and you pull up a copper, you could pull up a copper from the early 1700s that looks like a piece of pocket change.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, but to this day, it's more sandier soil on the Fairton side. I found a 1803 penny on the Fairton side. Looked like a piece of pocket change I just pulled out of my pocket. We found some beautiful things over some real nice, Spanish reels.
Spanish reals and nice coins from the 1700s, early 1700s. And then you find, you know, like Reservoir buttons. You find musket balls. We found tent spikes.
Yes.
All kinds of interesting things.
There was this one spot where it was dated back to the 1600s, but in the war 1812, it was a training facilities for 2 years for the local militia that was in Greenwich. And we went metal detecting in there. It's pretty cool. You can still find musket balls. You can find buttons. I found coins.
Yeah, I found three King George coppers in there.
3 King George coppers and a reel. It's pretty a tent spike. It's pretty fascinating, the different things. Found a big pot. It was buried way in the ground, which I was really surprised out in the middle of a farmer's field finding that out there. Unless that's what they were feeding the troops with, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly live in a great area that's rich in history. So we're very fortunate for that. Hey, you know, I know we've spoke a lot about shovels tonight, but you do also sell stuff that's not shovels, like accessories, and you actually are a dealer for XP. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pam, you didn't tell them about the shovel if they buy XP.
Oh, yeah. We have it posted on the website. If you buy a Deus, the wireless, large headphones or the backphone headphones, you can pick a free shovel.
Oh,
like $100 value. And all you would do is put the code in Say you want a piranha, so you just put in piranha.
All right.
Or if you wanted a raven, and you would get a free shovel with it.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's very.
And it has a
very
5-year
good value.
guarantee, just like the machine.
Yeah, just like the machine.
All right. So check out Predator Tools at predatortools.com for more info, and search YouTube videos for Predator Tools, and you'll see all kinds of information on that too. So it's great talking to both of you, George and Pam Lesche, and we'll love to have you back again sometime.
That would be great.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. It was a real pleasure hearing your stories and learning more about Predator Tools and about yourselves as well.
And thank you very much for having us. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank you very
it.
much.
If you have a question for one of our guests or just like to make a comment, call us at our XP Team USA podcast hotline at 405-294-3602. If you are in the market for a new pinpointer, then check out XP's MI6 pinpointer. Waterproof up to 6 meters, 2 audio modes, picture poles, 3 levels of sensitivity, rechargeable lithium battery, 7 programs to choose from, 7th program being connectivity to your machine, allowing 50 levels of sensitivity and recovery mode for your MI6. For those on a budget, check out the MI4 pinpointer with all the same options except for connectivity. So find an MI6 or an MI4 pinpointer through a dealer near you. This is Express News with Grant Hansen.
Hey everyone, this is Grant Hansen with another edition of Express News. So we've got a couple cool stories, and I'll start with a penny from heaven, you might say, or, well, from a cafeteria. Most American detectorists have found their fair share of wheat pennies, but the one in this story is quite rare. In 1942, a small amount of bronze planchets found their way into the minting machines and were accidentally used to make a few 1943 pennies. All of the other pennies from that year were steel, since copper was needed for the war efforts. Fast forward to 1947, Don Lutz Jr., at the time a high school student from Massachusetts, got the penny and his change from the cafeteria. Since he was a coin collector and aware of steel pennies, this one piqued his interest and he held on to it. The penny is now up for auction, and the last time a 1943 bronze penny came up, it sold for $1.7 million. For more information, visit CBS News. Oh, by the way, we don't really have pennies in America. We have cents. Look it up. And now for some XP Detectorist news. Tom H. from Richmond, Virginia, recently found a $5 gold coin with his dais. Tom is fortunate to detect just about every day and loves to hunt sidewalk strips and large yards. Near his home, the Confederate Army camped out for the entire war, and the area saw significant Civil War action. Using his dais and X-35 coil and running the hot sifter program with discrimination at 1, he heard a signal similar to a bullet or a lead disc, and boom! Out comes an 1883 $5 gold coin. While he's found other, smaller gold coins in his detecting career, this is his first in 25 years. If you want to see pictures and see some of Tom's other amazing finds, check him out on Instagram at digman1607. Okay, this next story, you just gotta listen to the headline. It's long, but it tells it all. Quote, "The treasure of a traitor. Amateur metal detectorist unearths 350-year-old ring that belonged to King Charles II's courtier, who was hung, drawn, and quartered after being framed for treason in 1678. Michelle Vall, a detectorist from Blackpool, England, while vacationing in Loch Lomond, found a beautiful gold signet ring which originally belonged to Edward Coleman. Who was Edward Coleman? He worked for King Charles II and was accused of treason. His sentence? He was hung and drawn and quartered. However, he was a victim of a fake conspiracy and was posthumously exonerated. Coleman was one of at least 22 men who were executed as part of the Popish plot, a fake conspiracy which accused these men of plotting to kill the king. Quote, "It is believed the ring originally belonged to Coleman's grandfather, Samuel, who lived in Norfolk between 1569 and 1653, and handed it down through the family. The ring has been declared as treasure and may be worth up to £10,000. For more information on this amazing discovery, log on to dailymail.co.uk. And that's a wrap for this edition of Express News. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right, another great episode of Express News.
Thank you very much. I always enjoy learning what's going on around the world and in our country and get really inspired by the treasure people are finding.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening and talking to George and Pam Lesche. Learned a lot from them.
Yeah, it was a particular thrill for me. I mean, I was using their shovels once I got started detecting. So meeting the people and talking to the people who designed a tool that makes my hobby more enjoyable, it was a real pleasure.
Yeah, when I first got me a Piranha shovel, man, I put that thing to the test. I've had it about 3 years now, and that thing's still great shape. Great tools, great plugs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I use that shovel just about every time I go out. It's so versatile. It's great on the farm fields. It's great on home sites. Keeps neat plugs, but also digs a hole big enough so that you're not scrambling to find a small target.
Yeah, with a Piranha, you can make a plug look cleaner than you can with a hand digger. I mean, very good shovel.
Oh, no doubt.
So as we mentioned before, Predator Tools is giving away a shovel. Grant, why don't you tell them how they can win?
Sure. So you have a chance to win a Super Relic Pro Model 81 shovel, courtesy of Predator Tools. It's $100 value. Entering is super simple. Simply subscribe to our podcast and then comment on our XP Team USA Facebook page that you've entered. So we'll start a thread there so that you can add to it. If you're already a subscriber, obviously you don't need to subscribe again. Just go over to the Facebook page and let us know that you've entered.
Yeah, and like Grant said, if you're already following, all you have to do is comment on the post.
Yep, it's that easy, and we'll announce the winner on our next show, which is Friday night, January 25th at 8 p.m. All right. Good luck to all those who enter.
Yes. Good luck to everybody who entered, and catch our next show with Sonia Harshman and Gary Blackwell.
So, yeah, that's a very exciting show. I can't wait to talk to both of them and hear their stories and learn from their expertise.
And remember, if you have any questions for XP Sonia or Gary Blackwell, just call our hotline at 405-294-3602 and leave the question on the answering machine, and we will play it back for them during our show. Well, we'll see y'all then.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Get that permission, put the coil to the soil, and we'll see you next time right here on the XP Team USA podcast.